At this point, it's hard to disagree with the fact that Zenless Zone Zero offers the most consistently entertaining and engaging gacha gameplay experience out of the Hoyo Big 3. Hey, why is everyone booing? You know I'm right. Okay, I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit. It's only been pretty much a year at this point, mind you, and the road to get here wasn't all smooth sailing either. But in my eyes, it took Hoyoverse 3 whole big name releases to finally succeed in formulating their best gacha game experience. Insert shameless plug of the video where I talk about my experiences with the other games here. One thing I think Zenless just gets right above everything else is their side events. These events run parallel to the main story and reward you generously with polychromes and materials. They are extremely crucial as they have the important job of keeping the player base engaged in between patches, which can sometimes be stretched out for a while. From experience, history has been on Hoyo's side when it comes to the creativity of these events, as I often find myself immersed in side events more often than not compared to main story quests. Joyful events that you wish never ended, such as Midsummer Island, fun events that are witty, such as Cosmodicy, and events that force you to work a real job, like an Uber delivery driver. Yay. One thing I respect Hoyo for in this department is the fact that they understand not all their players have all the time in the world. If you're unemployed, good for you. You can freely sit there and play ZZZ all day. But if you are employed and barely have time to play during the evenings like me, time and quality of these events are of the essence, a major deciding factor on whether or not you feel bothered enough to click on that giant yellow button filled with magic and goodness on the Hoyo launcher again. But Hige, you ask, how exactly do you think Zenless nails side quests? Well, I'm glad you asked, because the events in Zenless can be summed up in 3 different categories. What's your definition of a memorable event? I know what mine is in Zenless at least. Overlord's Feast. And no, it's not just because of that earworm music that I couldn't check out of my head for a while after, although it is a pretty big part of it. The event required you to help the Sons of Caledon rebuild their old diner from the ground up by boosting the diner's reputation through fulfilling customer orders and raising funds to revive the place. Throughout the event, I found myself equally as frustrated as I was enjoying it. Not in a bad way, oh god no, but in a what the heck is for happiness, how the fuck am I supposed to do that type of way. That's the sort of frustration you want. Not the type of frustration that makes you want to close the game, but the type of frustration that unlocks the competitiveness in you, lights a fire underneath you and makes you vow to actually solve it even if it's the last thing you do. Not only does it leave you satisfied once you do solve the problem, but as the event goes on and you raise cheesetopia's levels, actual changes are happening to the event location in the overworld, and these changes are permanent every time you visit Placewood after, which gives you a sense of fulfillment. In fact, when I finished the final quest in Overlord's Feast and Casa took over the operations, I couldn't help but feel a momentary wave of melancholy wash over me. I do wish they have us come back to Cheesetopia once again for a similar event. That would be lit. Events like this stick with you, and I hope that Zenless at least takes inspiration from this event in future ones because it is a really enjoyable concept. Another example of a memorable event is the Grand Marcel Adventure. Because, well, it's Bang Before guys, like, come on, I don't have to explain anything else. Everyone has a different idea of what makes a good event. Some might prefer them to be longer, content-packed, the less is more type of people, while others might prefer short and sweet events, multiple different events in short bursts which feels like a sugar rush straight to the bloodstream. Zenless's events feel like a nice balance of the two. Here's an event, it won't take too much of your time, you get to interact with some of your new Eridu acquaintances, read some witty little dialogue, complete a puzzle or two, and you get a few polychromes out of it. Go, roll for your waifu. For some reason, Zenless really likes to put you into the shoes of an Uber driver and make you deliver food. In fact, now that I think about it, if I had $1 for how many food delivery events there have been so far, I'd have $3, which isn't much, but it's strange that it's happened thrice. The reason I bring this up is because I enjoyed these events. Events like this, Hal's Reader for You, and Coach Astor's Anna Assistant Problem were examples of short, fun, and simple events. This isn't a case of me having a TikTok brain, aka a short attention span. Again, not every one of us has all the time in the world to play the game. The events being short and sweet ensure that I also have time to do, all the other things in the game. Maybe I haven't finished part of the main quest yet. Maybe I want to do a trust event. Maybe I want to do a hangout event. Or maybe Seth is stuck in the coffee shop again during one of his endless coffee runs and needs someone to talk to. There's so many things I can possibly do that I don't know where to start, but ZZZ events grant me the luxury of time for a variety of things to do in the limited hours I have to play the game, rather than just sit there completing segments of one long-ass event which demotivates me from doing other things and leaves me feeling empty when I log off, knowing that I hadn't done the rest of what I wanted to do. It's a very specific problem to have. I might be the only one who goes through this sort of thing, but I really am glad that Zenless finds the right balance for me, just to hit the G-spot when it comes to their limited events. Despite what I said in the last section, I do also appreciate my fair share of longer events. Billabong's museum event and Woo's Moon Festival were shining examples of how longer events should be done and that they should be studied so that there can be more of them. Look, I even said so on my Twitter. What made these events was that they were fun. I wanted to run around Billabong finding the exhibits to help the museum thrive. I wanted to help Zhang Liao help the people of Jinzhou in making the Moon Festival the best it can be. Their concepts were interesting. If there was a story, it was nicely written. If it threw a puzzle at you, it wasn't too hard. And most importantly, it made you want to see it through to the end. And when you got there, you can't help but feel a wave of accomplishment and satisfaction wash over you. In Zenless, you may remember we recently had the movie event, Gravitational Attraction. I remember seeing all the memes blow up before I had tried it out, and unsurprisingly, the one that got me was the fact that you could date everyone's favorite information broker, Venus. And so I tried it out. The minigames were speed tests and there were a few memeable moments, but found that it also had another pleasant surprise. I expected characters like Seizure and Haramasa, Seizure especially since we know she's a closet romance lover, but the choice to add NPCs like Orchidia, Elfie and Coco was such a good call, as it not only gave these NPCs more screen time, but also more personality. We're used to seeing them on the streets or in menus, but did we really care about them that much before this? Especially Coco. Seriously girl, lay off the tea. I'm so worried for your health. Zenless's willingness to showcase characters beyond the main playable ones in an event like this shows that 1. All these nicely designed side characters aren't just one-offs and put to waste, but that everyone in New Eridu is equally as important as the other. Everyone is like one giant family, which is also adding to the stab in the gut knowing that part 1 is over. We've moved on to the Wi-Fi Peninsula, which means more new characters, new faces, new foes, and inevitably, less of the characters we've come to know and love. This is what makes it engaging to me. By expanding events to include more NPC characters, it keeps things fresh so that you don't have to experience new events with the same playable characters over and over again. Whether they be human or Bangbu, keeping you drawn in through, wholesomeness. As version 2.0 continues to roll on, I'm really excited to see where Zenless decides to go from here. It's almost inevitable, but I'd like to see some events which circle around members of the Yunkui Summit. Pan Yinhu is a chef, and a damn good one by the sounds of it, so how about giving him a cooking event? Hell, here's an idea. How about giving him his own version of the Overlord's feast? Yunkui Summit needs funds to help restore their temples, so maybe Pan can hold some sort of food stall type of event where we help him fulfill customers' orders like the Overlord feast puzzles. The money earned can mean that the temple gradually gets restored as we increase its popularity level, just like cheesetopia. I'd be so down with that. Of course, this doesn't mean we can forget our folks back at the Genesis Quarter. Maybe some events where old characters make the trip over where they come to check on us. We are the beloved Pathan after all. That would be lit. Regardless of where they go, they rarely missed as of yet, so here's to a brilliant second year on the horizon. What was your favorite event? Sound off in the comments below. Leave a like or a comment, or cheesetopia will screw up your order.